Hello chess friends, and welcome to Ozarov Chess Channel, and welcome to the hyper-accelerated Dragon Sicilian defense series. So in this series we see, of course, an effective weapon while playing against e4, and today we're continuing with this hyper-accelerated Dragon Sicilian defense against this so-called closed Sicilian. So the closed setup by white is really an annoying one, and the game can sometimes get too positional, which I don't like, because when you're playing against stronger players you want to have at least some counterplay, and this grandmasters, intermasters, they know the positional play very good, and of course they'll crush you just slowly. And as I said, this hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian defense is really good tactical opening, and of course we have possibilities to open somehow the position. So let's see now this close setup here by white. So here after e4 and c5, knight on c3, and I've explained in my previous video the continuation here after d4, so you don't have worries after maybe queen takes on d4, then you can continue the game with the move knight on f6. So I make this video, so be free to watch that video first, because you get a better understanding of this video. So now we have here f4, and now we have this standard closed Sicilian setup here by white. White will rely simply on his very flexible and very advanced f4 and e4 pawn, and after bishop on b5 he will try to close the position somehow with the move d3 and create a very fast attack on your king. So here again, bishop on g7, our standard hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian move, knight on f3, and now knight on c6. Now your opponent will probably play the move b5. So here I don't recommend you maybe to play the move a6, because you get bishop takes on c6, and then after that b takes c6, you see you will have troubles to defend this pawn, and you will have to defend it with the move d6. Basically white's object will really be the c5 pawn, and after that he can always play the move e5 and get a really nice breakthrough here in the center. So I don't recommend you this line. After bishop on b4, I recommend you the move knight on d4. So here white has many possibilities. Today we're continuing the line with bishop on c4 and bishop on d3. So there are lines in which white can simply castle here. Then after that I recommend you to take the bishop on b5, but that will be explained in the next videos. So today let's see this line after bishop on c4. So you don't have also worries maybe with this move knight takes on d4, because you can simply capture with your pawn and gain really good space. Meanwhile you can also play queen on c7 after that and create an attack here on this c2 pawn with maybe rook on c8 idea. So you see you have now an advanced pawn on the 4th rank. You have occupied already your opponent's half of the board, and you can also play on this semi-open c file, which I think is a very good so far setup by black here. So the instructive game after knight on d4 that I wanted to show you, it was played by Nikola Nikolovsky against Sergei Karyakin. Sergei Karyakin, of course, the former world championship challenger. And here Nikola Nikolovsky tried bishop on c4. I recommend you here also to play the move e6, because white can have really nasty ideas here with knight on g5, and then after that f5 moves to really break through here in the center. So of course we want to play knight from g to e7, and then after that maybe the move d5. So here Nikolovsky decided to take the knight, and again c takes d4. You see now we have a similar position that I explained already. Of course now knight on e2, and now I want you really to memorize after this bishop on c4 you have a really aggressive line. So you see no way that this position will get closed anymore, because now Sergei Karyakin played the move b5. It's really aggressive, but believe me or not, black is already on the advantage here, because after bishop on b5 you can play the move bishop on b7. If white tries to defend the pawn here with the move d3, you have queen on a5, and you can of course take take out the bishop, and it will be already a losing game for white. So that's why white can try maybe the move a4. And then you have simply bishop takes on e4, and you see again we have possibilities to attack the bishop, and we have now a very good diagonal here for our bishop, already attacking also this g2 pawn. Meanwhile, again, I'm pointing you out that we can play again on the c file, queen on c7, rook on c8, and simply attacking this c2 pawn. So what white can do here is maybe play the move bishop on d3, but then you have f5, or maybe even queen on h4. Maybe it's even a better move, because after knight on g3 you can simply take, and if after maybe g3 you have here queen on h3, which would be really an annoying move. White's not able to castle here, and of course with the preparation to play the move f5, this will be of course a completely winning game for black here. So that's why after b5, Nikolovsky decided to play the move bishop on d3, and now of course bishop on b7. Here we have castling, and now knight from g to a7 with the preparations to play the move f5. So f5 played by white, but it's already too aggressive, I think, because black has now the flexibility even to castle queenside here, and this f5 move really opens now this king after castling, so white king will get endangered here, but it also opens this very good diagonal for the bishop here, which aims here on this g2 pawn. So here g takes on f5, e takes on f5. Now we have e takes f5, and it seems that black is also here lacking of development, but it's really not a problem, because you see after queen on e1, which is sort of a discovered attack, Sergei Karyakin played here the move queen on c7. Now we have b3, so of course white is trying also to develop the bishop. So now bishop on e5, Sergei Karyakin already on the attack. You see queen on h4 was played, and now rook on g8. Now we have a very nice attack. I hope you realize this dark square diagonal is very good occupied by Sergei Karyakin. This bishop is aiming, and with this rook here we have a perfect attack on white's king. So here rook on f2 had to be played. So now rook on g4, queen on h7 isn't so good, because you can simply castle and have ideas maybe to doubling up the rooks here on the g file, and you can also play rook on h8. So this would be really a deadly attack against white. So that's why queen on h5 was played, and now castling. Now we have bishop on a3, and now very strong move by Sergei Karyakin. We have b4, bishop takes on b4, and now the knight comes out with the tempo, attacking the bishop, so the bishop has to react. But here white decides to take the pawn on f5, so that's why Sergei Karyakin played rook on g7, and now again with the possibilities to doubling up the rooks on the g file. You see this knight is also very well centralized here. So here c3 was played. We have d3. We are not allowing, of course, white to open somehow the c file, because rook on c1 is the threat, of course, with this attack on the queen and the king on the c file. So here d3, and now we have solved our problems, because there's no way that white's gonna attack here anymore our king, because these pawns are really in front of this rook. So this white's attack on the castle king here will be too slow, I think. Meanwhile, I hope you realize that, again, I'm pointing you out that black has a very good coordination with his pieces and a very good attack on the king. So here knight on g3 was played. Now we have knight takes, because as I said, multiple threats here were with rook on g8. So here bishop on rook on e1. Now we have knight on c3. We have bishop takes on d3, and now rook takes on g3. h takes g3, bishop takes on g3. So of course Sergei Karyak in the next move can take another rook. So queen on f7, we have knight on e5, here queen on h7, now with some pinning ideas on the rook. So here and in this position, white simply resigned, because you see this is really an annoying attack here against white's king. White's two pieces up here, of course, for the exchange for the rook, but in the next move white can simply take out the rook and continue the game with these very good pieces. And we have also possibilities to play the rook on f8. Basically any move is simply winning here for black, and I hope you realize that white was really slow on the attack, although white took a couple of pawns, but the activity of the black's pieces was simply better. So let's see now another game, again with this hyper accelerated dragon Sicilian defense, with this setup after g6, knight on f3, bishop on g7, and now bishop on b5, now knight on d4 again, we have bishop on d3. So it's also a possibility here for white. The idea is after knight takes on d4 and then knight c takes d4, then the knight can go on e2, but with the preparation then after c3 to build a very good center with c3 and d4. So let's see this possible line. Maybe after d6 white can simply take, and here after knight on e2, well, if you try maybe knight on f6, then of course white can play this very good move c3 and hide the bishop maybe here on c2 and try to push forward the d4 pawn, and will have a very nice central control. So here after knight on e2, I recommend you to play the move e5. Simply support this d4 pawn, and the instructive game that I wanted to show you, it's played by Roger Beckett against Daniel J. King. And Daniel J. King here with the black pieces, also a very good player in the hyper accelerated dragon Sicilian defense. So I saw many games by him played in this line, and he is really a strong player in this particular opening. So here he supported simply the pawn on d4 with this e5 move. So now after castling, knight on f6, and now we have c3. Now we have some tactics here, because you can simply castle, and white tried c takes d4. Here we have e takes d4, and if knight takes d4, then you have knight on e5 with this attack on the knight. So this will be of course a better game for white, because we will have a simply better activity with our own pieces, and that's why after e takes d4, knight on g3 was played. So many moves now by the knight already. Now Daniel J. King played rook on e8, we have queen on f3, and now bishop on g4, queen on f2, and now bishop on d7. Of course white can take the pawn on here on d4, because you get again knight on e4 with this discovered attack on the queen. So I hope you realize that this d4, although it seems that that this pawn is weak, it's really something that bothers white here, because white doesn't have a good development, because white has to play b3 and maybe bishop on b2 in order to get this dark square bishop developed. And you see the problem now with this bishop on d3 move was because white wasn't able to play d3 here with this pawn and get maybe a good diagonal for the bishop here on this diagonal, or maybe on g5. So this is now a really strange position, because we have, although black has this double pawn situation, black has already equalized the position. So here h3 was played, and now bishop on c6. So now the bishop is also on a very good square. We are attacking this e4 pawn. Of course, rook on e1 was played, and now knight on d7, with the preparation to fix the knight here on the very good square on c5, and then after that, maybe with moves as a5, create sort of a blocking system here on the queen side. And it's not easy here for white also to push the pawn on e5, which he would probably love to do, because then white will gain some space here in the center, but that's not possible because the knight and the bishop and this pawn are working perfectly together, of course, with this rook here on e8, so this is simply not possible. Bishop on c2 was played. Now rook on c8 with this again discovered attack on the bishop. d3. Now we have queen on h4, rook on e2, and now knight on c5. We have b4, and now black finds very good tactics here. He played the move knight takes on e4. So knight takes on e4. Now we have queen takes on f2. If of course the knight takes, then we can simply take the rook here on e2. So that's why king on f2, and now we have bishop takes on e4. If d takes e4, then you get d3 here with the discovered attack on the rook. So that's why after bishop on e4, bishop on b2 was played. Now bishop on g2. You see, if white tries here to take the rook, then we can simply take, and if white plays here king takes on g2, then you have rook on e2 attacking both of these bishops. So this will be, of course, a completely winning endgame for black. So here after rook takes on e8, bishop on a4 was played, and now we have bishop on c6, and after bishop takes on c6, b takes on c6, white simply resigned, because you see black is 2 pawns up, and of course has a completely winning endgame. So I hope you realized that these ideas, this bishop on b5 idea by white, so it's well, it doesn't get too close as white would love to be here. After bishop on b5, you see white tries maybe to take out your knight here on c6, but because we didn't play this move knight on f6, white cannot simply push the pawn on e5 and gain some space. You have the simple move knight on d4, and if this I want you to memorize, if your opponent takes here with this knight, simply recapture here with this pawn and gain some space. Meanwhile, you see how deadly these attacks were. There's no way that these two games that I showed you were closed or static position. They were really dynamic, and that's why I simply like this opening. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Meanwhile, you can watch my other hyper accelerated Dragon Sicilian defense videos I've already created with this introduction videos. Now 19 of this. It's maybe hard for you to study all of them, but try it out if you want to have a very nice opening against e4. And you can also watch my chess tactics and chess puzzles series if you want to have a better understanding of all of the possible chess tactics that can happen in a chess game. And you can also subscribe to my channel. Thanks you for watching, and chess is the best.